be a very, very intense journey.
What's going on, everybody? And welcome to episode 156 of Frameskip. I am Andie Eller, and I am joined by the man who does not curse, the coach Kyle Newman. What's going on?
What's going on, sir?
As well as George from Shortbox Summary.
Hi.
How are you guys this evening? Coach, how are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Every day out here is a damn good day. I can actually say this. 9 months, and every day has been a damn good day. Some better than others, but every day is a good day.
Well, I'd say that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a good thing. I mean, certainly when you can wake up and say, oh, it's going to be a good day, and you know it's a good day, it's going to be a good day.
I just love what I'm doing out there. So, when you finally get that, I mean, I love teaching, don't get me wrong, and I can't wait to get back to the swing of things, but finally getting to a point in my military career where I'm doing something with a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
It feels good. Like, it feels damn good.
Well, I'm happy for you, man. That's awesome.
Yep.
George, how are you? What's going on?
I'm good, man. It's finally starting to feel like winter up here in Maine. We got some snow today, but it's supposed to rain tomorrow, which is a bummer. And then it's supposed to be 50 to 70 mile per hour winds. So,
oh, great.
Maine winters used to be really cold, but they were pretty chill. Now they're not that cold, and they fucking suck. So it sucks. I hate it here sometimes. Like, why do I have to deal with hurricane wind storm warnings in January? That doesn't make much sense to me. In December, it doesn't make much sense to me. There was one, I think, in November. That doesn't make much sense to me at all. Like, I don't get it.
So remind all of our listeners, George, because the other thing that I am familiar with because of you that I had never really thought of before is the fact that it's pitch black way early for you.
2:30 in the afternoon.
Not that early, but sometimes it feels like it. Like, the sun definitely has like that beautiful twilight glow at 3:20, just because like sun sets by like 3:55, 4 o'clock.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it sucks. So like I love to go for walks. I try to walk a couple miles a day at the very least. So I am not a morning person. So I've been forcing myself to be a morning person just to get outside and get some exercise, get my steps in, because I can't do it after 3:45 anymore. Yeah. But hey, we're 11 days out from December 21st. That's when days start getting longer. Something to look forward to.
Have you guys got your Christmas shopping done? Speaking of the days getting longer and everything done, or are you still going?
I just send money on Christmas. When I'm deployed, I just send money.
Awesome.
George,
you?
George, what did you say? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I said, why would you bring that up? No, I haven't even started. I need to. It's like a lot of my friends and family have like kids now, so I actually feel like it's more important to get them something.
Yeah.
And getting them something is so much like I don't know what to buy my 42-year-old brother. Like I just don't.
Yeah.
Like the dude's had a job forever. He can get pretty much anything he wants. So, like, if I'm buying him something, I'm like, all right, I need to find him, like, a Larry Bird action figure from the late 80s, or, like, an old, like, the original starting lineup figures. You remember those, Coach?
Yes.
Like, I need to find that. And, like, that shit's really hard to find up here. So if I get his kid something good, then I can just, like, get him, like, an iTunes gift card and be like, hey, get yourself, like, a movie, like, and here's some cash to get, like, a 6-pack of beer. So you can have like a movie night to yourself. Like it's easier to do stuff like that. I don't have to put as much thought into that. And the kids are easy because everyone really likes Pokemon. And guess what?
Dude.
I do too. It's great. It's so easy.
The thing is, kids are easy to buy for, and I'm a little like I'm indifferent on giving people cash or a gift card. Like I'll do it if I can't figure it out. But I just know that for me, receiving it, not that I dislike receiving cash as a gift or a gift card as a gift. But there is always a little more excitement when you get something that you want.
For sure.
So kids for that reason. Point being, I feel like are a little easier to buy for because, gosh, what like toy does a kid not want or game or whatever it may be? I mean, most kids are pretty like reasonable when it comes to giving them stuff. But I totally agree with you. I hope my family's not watching this. I don't think they have ever listened to a single episode of this, so I can't assume why they would now. But my mom and my stepdad, for some reason, like every year, it is so challenging to buy for them, and I'm not sure why. Like, the two of us have such an issue finding things that they would like, and so this year, I hope they use it because we love ours, but we bought them a Soda Stream and like the canisters and everything, which is like where you make your carbonated
Yeah.
water. We love ours. I mean, we use it constantly. And it was funny. We were sitting there like eating dinner and we had just made like a canister and I was like, "Wait a second. This could be the gift." So
No, man,
so that's
thing's
what we're
sick.
trying.
Like, honest, it's that or like something else like your parents would never consider, like an air fryer or something, right? Just like something that's relatively new. There's no like established cookbook from someone they know. You know, there's not like
Yeah.
a Bobby Flay or like an Alton Brown air fryer cookbook. So like the people they care about aren't talking about it. Yeah, the shit like that is great. I love my Soda Stream. It's fantastic.
Do you do like the what flavors do you typically do? Because we love ours because you can put in like the bubbly drops for like the seltzer water. That's the only
Great.
thing we use it for.
I do like emergency ginger ale and emergency like Diet Cola when I'm
Nice.
like having real hankerings. I try so hard to not drink soda. Do that, and then honestly just like tonic for cocktails and stuff.
Nice.
But like being able to do that and not have to like run out to the store is fucking fantastic.
Coach, you look confused.
So you have a soda machine, but you don't drink the soda. That's confusing.
So, well, all it is it's not even it's called a Soda Stream, but you don't necessarily have to make soda with it. Basically, all it is it's got like
It carbonates your drink.
is it just like compressed? What's it? I don't even know what's in the canister.
It's CO2.
CO2.
Okay. Of course. Yeah,
carbonates your drink.
Yeah. So yeah, it literally just carbonates water, and then you
Yeah.
put in anything that you want into it.
Then
Essentially,
you can add syrup. Like they actually had like Mountain Dew syrup that you could like make your own Mountain Dew at home. It didn't taste right, but like it's better than not having Mountain Dew. Actually it's not. No, you should not do your weird homemade Mountain Dew. But like the seltzer shit is really good. The Diet Cola's fine. It tastes like bargain cola that you get at the grocery store. And being able to make a gin and tonic or a vodka tonic whenever you want is fucking elite, frankly.
Yeah.
So a big fan.
so hopefully they like it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't know. It's always really difficult. I feel like to buy for family members. Andie's easy to buy for because she just kind of will give me a list of things, and I do the same for her. Although this year, admittedly, I told her since I built this computer, do not buy me anything. So
Well, at least one gift.
yeah, I'm sure she'll still buy me something.
Yeah.
I'm sure she will. So I actually sent her. I think it was Fangamer. Have you used that site before, George? It's like a merch website for video game
Yeah.
stuff. They have all sorts of different games on there. They just posted a couple of weeks ago. They have an Ape Escape line, and so they released like the monkeys as plushes. And so I was like,
Uh-huh.
"You can buy me this and nothing else." So I don't know if she ended up buying that or not, but
Oh, that is a cute looking monkey. Yeah.
yeah. So that's a great website, by the way, if you've never checked it out. There's like so many different brands, and it's all officially licensed merch. So, but anyway, I guess I never even really answered the question. We're like half done Christmas shopping, so we're getting there. But hey, along with the Christmas season comes plenty of time to sit back, relax, and stay inside because it's cold. Although probably not too cold where you are, Coach.
I wish it was. Today was
So-
hot, bro.
So what have you been up to? What have you been playing? What have you been watching?
So I did send you guys a video that I was going to start Ghost Sushi, right? But then the next day it dawned on me that if I wanted to learn the controls for Dynasty Warriors Origins, that I bet you anything 9 has the same controls or very similar to that. So I had already had it purchased, so I downloaded it. and I've just been playing a lot of it. So just learning, because remember, for like Hyrule Warriors, and it's like that with the I believe with the Samurai Warriors, um, you just basically have 3 buttons, right? The left one is going to be just your regular attack. The top button is going to be your strong attack, and the right button is your Muso attack. And then, of course, you have like, the dodge. So what was that? I don't know if it was one of the
It's like
triggers.
one of the triggers, I think, in the new
one of
game.
the triggers.
Yeah.
So I've been playing quite a bit, like way too much. I'll come home from work during the day and sneak about 45 minutes in before going back.
So 9 was 9 the one that you said like didn't review super well or something?
Yeah, and it's so funny because basically they wanted to kind of make it like Breath of the Wild a little bit, like open world. And you still have your areas where you have to conquer, right? You have to defeat the red enemies on the map. Whatever. But that game should have been another 18 months worked on. Like serious. It's really, it's pretty raw. Like it's kind of like Scarlet and Violet type, where you'll see a group of enemies running across, like way in the distance though, but they're like the windmills in Pokemon, like super choppy, So, and the controls, like it's not smooth, but when it comes to the fighting, it's good.
Yeah, so I was just looking at Origins because I don't even think I talked about this on the podcast, but I tried that demo too because you tried it and I was curious about it as well. And it comes out January 17th, so like a little over a month from now. But the problem is it's a little over a month before Monster Hunter, and I just don't know that I can get a game of that size so close. But the demo was really good from what I played. I can't remember if you ever talked about it on your coach or not, but it's really like a beautiful game, and it does feel different compared to the older ones. I mean, it definitely feels a little more high quality.
Right. So it's not in the main, like it's not your numbered. And they even said it, this is not 10, right? I think they're just trying something new and something different, I guess you can say, right? 9 was something different, but I could see where people get frustrated with it. There's a lot of crafting. I kind of want to learn the whole crafting system in 9. So I'll give it a fair share. I'll probably put like 20, 30 hours in before Origins releases and then see how it goes.
George, did you ever play any of these games or like any Musos at all?
I might have played a couple Gundam Dynasty Warriors games back in the day, just because those were the only Gundam games we were getting, and I just needed my fix. I am not very impressed with the genre, but again, I haven't touched it in 10 years, so like what the fuck do I know? I'd be willing to check it out. I have the Hyrule ones. Just because I thought those were going to be going out of print and getting harder to find, so I snapped those up while I could. I would like to check them out.
Yeah, they're good. I was kind of like you. Like when I first played my first Dynasty Warriors game, it was before Hyrule Warriors. I can't recall which one it was. I might have played 7, if I'm remembering correctly. I was just looking at the release list. It says Dynasty Warriors 7 came out in 2011 and 8 was 2013. I'm pretty sure I tried 7. And at the time it didn't click with me. It was like, oh god, you're just fighting all these enemies and you're hitting the same button over and over again. And I don't know if, I mean, maybe the series was like that at that time, but I have a feeling it was just that I didn't put the hours into it and learn it. But I know at least with Hyrule Warriors, and especially that second one, there's actually a lot of strategy to that game that really comes into play as far as, kind of the chess piece movement of making sure you're going to the right bases. And taking people down before they capture said bases, but also they've added in all this like Bayonetta-esque dodging where like if you dodge at the right time, it slows time down and there's a lot more tacticality, I suppose, compared to what I remember at least from 15 years ago. So I would highly recommend those Hyrule Warriors games. The first Fire Emblem Warriors is also excellent. I never played that second one that ties in with
I heard that
Three
one's
Houses.
better. I think people enjoy that one.
Yeah.
The second one. Three Hopes.
And I'll actually say that I think the most well-crafted one that I've played, I never played the second one, but Dragon Quest Heroes, which was the Dragon Quest one,
Yeah.
is phenomenal. Like super high quality. It some of those other Dynasty Warriors games feel a little low budget, but that one felt really like high end. Still had the Akira Toriyama art. So I liked that one a lot at that time when it came out, at least. So
And later this year, I wouldn't mind. I picked up Persona 5 Strikers just to get my feet wet on what the whole Persona thing.
yeah, everybody raves about that game too, by the way. That's like one of the highest rated like crossover Musos. So I haven't played that one.
Talking to my buddy Marty, he said it was like almost like required playing if you liked Persona 5. That it did like such a
Marty?
good job
Marty?
of like the Marty, yeah. That he was just really enjoyed it and thought like it tied into the main series so seamlessly.
Yeah, it's like a sequel to Persona 5. So I don't necessarily know if it continues the story because there's not really much to continue, but I'm assuming it takes those same characters and kind of throws them in this new plot. So yeah. Coach, anything else you've been playing?
That'd be it.
You know what? Anything you've been watching? I know you've been watching one thing that you've sent a few messages on.
What did I-
Skeleton Crew.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I did watch the first 2 episodes, which is good, right? So we'll see. Now that they have everybody, let's see what episodes 3, 4, 5 are, right? Hopefully, it will continue where it's at. I mean, it's fun. It's not supposed to be serious. I mean, it's not goofy either. It's fun. The kids are fun. I'll put it that way. The kids are what make it, right? So, and their relationships with each other. So that's pretty good. And then I just been watching a lot of, and this is a guilty pleasure, a lot of Christmas movies on Hallmark.
Hell yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Get you in the holiday season mood.
Yes.
The Netflix ones really make the Hallmark ones look professional. Like something about the Netflix ones seems so cheap.
Yeah. I don't know if
Compared
That's interesting.
compared to the Hallmark ones, where I'm like, no, man, like they have this shit down to a science over there. Like you're still figuring it out, you're still getting your feet wet. Like you got some room to grow over here, Netflix. All due respect to your Christmas Prince 1, 2, and 3.
And so what's funny is probably about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, people were complaining. It's like, it's all white people in these. It's like, when are you going to like diversify? So they're starting to diversify. So it's good.
That's great.
Well, I think that is good. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to get on the whole diversity topic necessarily, but because it could certainly become political fast. But I do think it's good because clearly those movies are like marketed at like middle-aged white women. I mean, that's clearly like the audience they're aiming for. So I think it's good to attract new audiences, and that's certainly a way to do it. So
I don't think making movies with black people in it is political, but okay.
no, I don't disagree, but
Yeah.
I just know that certain others could read it that way. So
That's why I can never live in Utah.
But George, did you watch Skeleton Crew at all? I haven't watched it.
I haven't yet. I haven't had the time to, unfortunately. I'm looking forward to it though. Like it warms my heart. I know you guys don't like it. I don't care. The Acolyte is like the #1 show on everyone's like I can't believe this shit got canceled list from like Entertainment Weekly and like Vanity Fair and all this stuff. And from Variety, like everyone, it seems like everyone who watched the show really liked it. And the people who didn't watch the show don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but they were really loud. So what can you do? The show got canceled. So I don't know. I'm super bummed just because that was my favorite Star Wars thing since Rebels. And so I want to get into Skeleton Crew, but it's also like, you guys kind of like killed me on the one thing I did care about in a while. So
Yeah. Just to clarify, by the way, I haven't watched Acolyte, so I have no opinion on it. It's Seth I
I
know
didn't.
that doesn't like it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I do want to watch it at some point personally, but I've mentioned this before in our group chat, but I'm just so far behind on Star Wars. I kind of got Star Wars out, although Jedi Survivor really kind of reinvigorated me. Although I say that, and I never like proceeded forward with anything Star Wars after beating it. So I do want to watch Skeleton Crew. I do want to watch Acolyte at some point. So it's just a matter of sitting down and doing it. But
Yeah, man.
George,
Takes place during the High Republic, and
yeah, I
there's
know.
no existing. There's two existing characters in the entire show, and
Yeah.
it's literally just like, oh fuck that guy. That's all it is, you know.
No, I really do want to watch it. Actually, I think it's of everything that's come out. I think it's one of the more interesting things. And by the way, I've never seen Andor either, so that's like something I've got to change.
I can't wait for season 2, bro.
That might be like peak Star Wars. It's
yes,
so
I agree, man. Like that's gonna have its own trilogy with season 1, season 2, and then of course,
Rogue One.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man.
That's probably first on my watch list whenever we do decide to jump into a new show next. We're like deep into Hunter x Hunter, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but
Disney's really been pissing me off because they're releasing seasons from Disney Plus shows on Blu-ray, but it's like $50 for a steelbook,
dude,
for like 6 to 8 episodes,
shit, man.
which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like that is robbery. That said, I haven't bought any yet. Might have to get Andor.
I had Mandalorian season 1 and 2 in my shopping cart, but I'm like, this is too damn expensive. Look what this, yeah. But going back to Andor season 1, Austin, watch it in like sets of 3. I think you'll like it better that way. If you go in sets of 3, you'll enjoy it because
that's kind of how it released, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think it was the first 2 episodes, and then it was 1 after.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
So the middle part, some people thought it stayed too long. I didn't think so. But if you watch those middle 3 in one swoop, then yeah, you're gonna love it, bro. Honestly, you're gonna be amazed. It's good.
Yeah, I do want to watch it. I think like Rogue One is gonna be my second favorite Star Wars movie behind Empire. So, but the problem is I never really cared about Andor as a character in that movie. He was just like one of the bunch, but I know that that's not exactly the point of the show. So I need to just watch him. Everybody speaks so highly of.
It's the birth of the rebellion, and that's what's so amazing about it. Well, it's part of the. There's different cells, right?
Yeah.
You have So you have the rebel set. The rebels.
George, what have you? Not to derail, but what have you been up to this past week? Anything you've been playing, watching?
Trying to think if I've been watching anything. I don't think I have. I've been in the background at work. I've had like the original Pokemon like Indigo League going on. I have like the first like 4 or 5 seasons on DVD that I bought just in case like my nieces come over, just so I can throw that on and like not watch fucking Bluey for one day. That'd be sick. So I've been having that on. I'm about to get to the Orange Islands. I'm really excited because like I only saw like a couple random episodes of that when I was younger. So nothing. I haven't been watching anything too seriously, but man, the 2 games that I can't stop playing. I'm gonna talk about first one, Dragon Age, Veilguard, incredible game. It's awesome. It's a big, deep fantasy, science fantasy, I guess, story that is just like an action combat game. Like you just unlock little power ups and shit, not unlike a God of War, but like a PS2 era God of War. And then it becomes an action game. Then you get to make decisions. You get to flirt with weird hot elves. Like the game's fucking great. And I have no connection really. I think we talked about this before. Like I played a lot of Dragon Age Inquisition. I remember absolutely nothing of it. I played a little bit of Origins. I think remember absolutely nothing of it. Like you don't need to know anything about Dragon Age to get into this game. Everything is just so well produced and like highly produced like hair animations when you're running downstairs look fantastic. The art direction's gorgeous. I am obsessed with this game. Like as it stands right now, this is probably my game of the year.
Wow.
And I say that even though I have spent quite a few hours, not that much time, quite a few hours into Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which is my least favorite type of game, but I am obsessed with this game.
Well, dude, let's talk about it now because that's really the main thing I've been playing too. I've played a couple other things here and there, which we can talk about if we have time. But yeah, the two of us, of course, have both been playing Indiana Jones. And when did you get the $100 version, or did you just start playing it today?
I started playing it today. I think I was technically able to play it Sunday, but I was so busy. I just got it through Game Pass.
I see.
I read all of. That's what I did this weekend. How did I forget? I read all of Blood Hunt, like the Marvel crossover event, like every tie-in issue, every miniseries, every random occurrence. It was awesome. I thought it was going to take a long time. No, I read like 60 issues in 2 days. It was great. Super fun event. Kind of pointless, ultimately. A lot of the tie-ins were pointless, but it was just cool to see like the horror side of Marvel. Anyways, I was doing that instead of playing Indiana Jones, and I feel like I fucked up. The game's great. I hate stealth games, and I really especially hate first-person stealth games where I feel just so vulnerable and stupid and silly. I couldn't really get into Dishonored. I never really fucked around with Prey. I generally don't like horror games or any kind of like that kind of tension.
Yeah.
And I feel like stealth games in particular just are tense on purpose, and I hate that. I find them very stressful. Is it Troy Baker playing Indiana Jones?
It is.
Is so fucking disarming in this game. It does such a spectacular job of being a young Harrison Ford. I don't understand it.
Dude, I can't believe how good he sounds. I forget, it might have been one of the like Sacred Symbols or something I was listening to the other day, and they were talking about just his range. It's incredible. I mean, objectively, he's got to be like the best video game voice actor, right?
Because, I'm sorry, Mr. North, but yeah, I think it might.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the range of characters he's playing the Joker in Arkham Origins, to Joel, more of like the Southern voice, to this. But you know, just specifically his portrayal here. This is maybe a slight spoiler if you care about what the first segment of the game is. But it starts essentially as a like shot-for-shot remake of the first few minutes of Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
And Digital Foundry, in their video covering like the technical side of the game, they did a whole segment where they compared Harrison Ford's lines in those scenes to Troy Baker's lines. And dude, it's like identical. There's hardly any difference. It's so good. Now, admittedly, he's replicating something that already exists versus later in the game original lines, but still.
Yeah, but it never feels like that super well. But like,
you cut out there for a second, George. Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Yes. Sorry. I said it never feels like he's doing like an impression.
Yeah. No, it feels real.
Is that working?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't feel like he's doing a bit. It just feels like he is Indiana Jones. You know, like it's really incredible. There's so many smart things about this game too, where it's like you don't get experience beating the shit out of people. You get experience for like learning. You know, like you find a document. Like it's the lamest thing ever that they call them adventure points. But besides that, the game, in my experience so far, has been great. But it's like finding a document, finding a letter, like unlocking a side quest in the city. It's really great. The first level, like you said, is like a tutorial, basically that's just showing you the ropes, the whip ropes, of like basic character movement, all that stuff. And then the second level just immediately puts you into a situation where like you have to be as smart as Indiana Jones, and then you have to be as crafty as Indiana Jones. And like it is like for all intents and purposes an Indiana Jones simulator. Like it's great.
Yeah, I don't know what you did, but I was kind of on media blackout for this game. I watched like the first trailer, and I've seen a couple maybe of the story like cutscenes in trailers, but I really tried to ignore the gameplay because I when I first heard about this game, I was like, what would this even be? What would it look like? What kind of game is this? And I really never looked into it. and I just held to that until the game came out. And so to find out that it is like a Dishonored light. I mean, it's not a full on Dishonored. You don't have quite that freedom, but it's close. Was very surprising to me, and likewise just as surprising to me that it works as well as it does. Um, the whole point of this game, unlike the Dishonored ones, you're good. Unlike Dishonored and Prey, and well, I shouldn't even say Prey because I think that's a little more in this direction actually, where you're not doing quite as much gunplay, but Deathloop, I guess, would be the better example. Unlike those games, you're not constantly. I mean, you really shouldn't ever be using like your pistol ever if you're playing the game properly the way it's telling you to do. I mean, it's all about hand-to-hand combat and sneaking up on guys and knocking them out with a shovel and hearing the ping as you hit them in the head, which is perfect.
It's great. What's that? And like, I walk around everywhere with like a bottle in my hand.
Yeah.
So I can like throw it to distract someone or just throw it at a person. It's great. You hit on something really well about like how it's like Dishonored light, and like this is what a lot of time games used to be like, especially when I was in high school. You had like X-Men Legends and Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which was Diablo light, right? And then you had like the Batman Begins game, which was Splinter Cell light, or like Metal Gear Solid light. And then you had, I guess Hulk was like GTA light.
Yeah,
like you're just like running around in like an open world. And all these games just like served a purpose where it's like, hey, let's take something really popular and then put a familiar skin and then do some tweaks, make it fun, make it really unique to the character. And this is just like that done to the highest degree of difficulty. Because I really don't think there's any more discerning and shitty fan than someone who would care about an Indiana Jones game or like a Star Wars game, right? Like I think those fans are going to be the most harsh and critical about whatever they're playing. Just because, frankly, they're fucking babies. Like they're like in perpetual emotional, they're like arrested development, right? Where it's just like, no, this isn't very Indiana Jones. And it's like, well, who the fuck are you to say what's very Indiana Jones or not? Like there was 3 good ones fucking 40 years ago. Who cares? Move on. But like this game, like it feels like it should be Indiana Jones 4. Like,
yeah.
This feels.
When does it take
like,
place though? Like in the story, is it before
like
Raiders?
1937, so a year after Raiders.
Yeah. And it actually picks up some of the plot points. Like, I mean, I just have seen this and it's referenced already, but like they talk about Marion and where she is and what she's doing. So yeah, it's cool. I mean, it feels like it fits in. How much have you played, George? I'm about 4.5 hours in.
Like 3 hours in. Like I've just been exploring an open world area.
Are you in the, I guess, city, for lack of a better word?
Yeah.
Okay. I won't spoil it, obviously, for those who haven't played, but the first major city you get to is really cool, and I've been spending a ton of time. There are side quests you can go do.
That's
what really well done.
Blows my, just the idea of having a side quest in an Indiana Jones game in first person. Like
Yeah.
I'm not even I'm torn on if I'm jarred or not when like, oh, you look up, you see a ledge, you fling your bullwhip at it, and then it breaks into third person. Like I still don't know how I feel about that. I almost wish they just kept it all in first person. But besides that, like that's like the only thing where I'm like, I don't even know if I don't like it. I just know that that's something I need to think about. This game is fucking great, man. Like this game is so good. Are you playing on Xbox or PC?
I'm playing on PC. This actually came with my GPU.
Oh, that's
so
right,
it was a bundle, and it was the $100 version that came with my GPU. So I've started playing it on Friday, for the early release, which was nice. But it runs like super smooth on PC. They just released the path tracing, which is like I need to read into that a little more. I don't know a whole lot about path tracing, but my understanding of it is it's like a little bit of a higher end ray tracing that consoles can't really do at the moment. I don't really care, so I've had it off. I've just been using the normal ray tracing. I'd rather have like the higher frame rate, so that's how I've been playing. But it plays great, especially keyboard and mouse. That kind of immersive sim style, it works really well. So,
But you're playing keyboard and mouse.
I am. So
that kind of makes sense because like it is almost like a point and click adventure game, right? Like it realized in 3D. So like I wonder how that plays. I'm noticing some issues on Xbox I tried playing it. They have like two different visual modes. One is widescreen, which is just like a normal game.
Yeah.
And the other one is cinematic, which is supposed to like present it more like a movie. And the biggest difference I noticed was that when I was doing it on cinematic, I felt like I had more pop in, and I don't know if that's just because like I had less screen real estate, because like they do bring in like the widescreen bars like up top and down on the bottom to have like a real like 16:9 ratio. So I don't know if it was just because like my eyes were focused on a smaller area that's why I felt that way. I switched it back to widescreen and then I stopped noticing it. My bigger concern, man, my Xbox Series X sounds like it's gonna fucking explode when I play this game. Like it is like I thought I had to pause the game and like look around to see like if Aaliyah was vacuuming somewhere, and she wasn't. It was just my Xbox. Like this thing is loud.
I don't. That thumbs up just appeared on George's face. I don't know what that was, but I'm assuming Bullfrog in the chat says, "How do you feel about the performance of Indie?" I'm assuming he's talking about what we're talking about right now. It seems like the game runs pretty well on Series X. I was watching the Digital Foundry review, and they were saying it's like literally like a flawless 60 frames, which is impressive for how beautiful this game looks.
Mm-hmm.
Really well done, like the lighting and textures. Looking at his jacket, the leather jacket, and some of the cutscenes, you look at it and you're like, damn, that looks real. So
that shit's really good. I secretly love that like when you pull up the map, like the game doesn't pause, like you're just like actually holding it. I wish it was a little more video gamey. Like there's different difficulties. You can like adjust it so it's normal puzzles or easy puzzles, and then you can do combat all the way from like easy to impossible, basically. Yeah. I just went with normal for both. I predominantly play video games on easy these days just to like beat them faster and move on to the next thing. But I wanted to see what it would be like to play this one on normal. I wish it was 5% more video gamey, where I'm like, all right, can I just like, what if I saw like my cursor move on the map? Because Indiana Jones is a smart guy. He would know which way he was facing on the map. I'm a dumb guy. So like, why don't you make me as smart as Indy and not ask me to be as smart as Indy? Little things like that where I'm just like, maybe it's on an easier difficulty. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's really all I got, man. Like that game is, punching feels so good in it. And I'm like, yo, they should bring back Fight Night on Xbox. Because like
punching,
first person punching feels pretty good.
It's so good, and you get like I don't even want to attempt to replicate it, but like the pow, pow, like as you're hitting, like that very like Indiana Jones like punching sound, like classic 70s, 80s movies. They nailed the vibes. Yeah. Like the overall vibes. I mean, it feels like you're in an Indiana Jones movie. And Bullfrog asked, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I guess what he was saying about the performance, he was saying the voice acting, but I think George and I both agreed it's excellent,
impeccable. Yeah,
yeah. But the other thing I was going to touch on that note is when you're walking around the world, there's so many dialogue lines from Indy. Like it really feels like he's there and active. You're not just playing as this first person like imitation of him. You know, you're walking through and he's like chatting with people as you're walking by, and of course you're in control, but he's got all these lines he's spewing off, and it's really well done. So
that's like the closest thing where I'm just like, I don't know if this is Indie. Like I beat the shit out of some Italian fascist earlier, and Indiana Jones was like, take that, chum. I'm like, I don't know if he'd say chum, but also like, I don't care. I just beat the shit out of a guy with his own nightstick. Like this was sick. Yeah. Like whatever.
And the humor's great, like beating the crap out of somebody with like a broom and all these random items. I mean, it really replicates that Indiana Jones feel perfectly. But the only negative thing I'll say is that at times I feel like the AI is not quite as smart as it should be.
No.
Like
but it feels Spielberg movie-esque.
It does.
Like, I was able to hide behind a desk after a guy saw me.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I guess nothing's there. And I'm like, there's literally like your passed out friend's body on a broken chair right here. Everything about that does feel Spielberg. And I love it.
And see, that's so the thing why like I wouldn't really call it a negative. It's just the only thing that I could critique at the moment. I think it works. Like, again, I think it's a Dishonored light. I really was not expecting a full-on difficult, like really challenging stealth game. So I'm okay with, the other day and you may have already done this, George, I'm not sure, but I was in this tomb area underground, and your goal is to get back up and climb out. And you're like walking around, and there's all these guards in this tomb, and most of them, I stealth by, I walk behind. Well, I get to the end, and there's a guard just looking at the exit, and there's no way to get around him, and I didn't have a bottle with me, so I'm like, okay. So I just try to climb right in front of him, and he just doesn't see me. So,
okay.
So there are times like that where I think the AI could use some improvement, but at the end of the day, I'm okay with it because the game's all about exploration, and it's humorous in a way. So,
which difficulty are you playing on?
I believe I'm on normal, whatever the normal mode is. So, yeah.
Right. I mean, that sounds great and pretty stress free. I'm like, maybe I should lower it. Really burn through this thing because I don't feel like I'm in this story yet.
Yeah, me either.
It's great. The one thing, I think the highest degree of difficulty was going to be like, can this feel like Indiana Jones? Can this character sound like Indiana Jones? And they nailed that. The second most important part to any Indiana Jones movie to me, all due respect to everyone who was involved in the movies, John Williams. The music in this game is fantastic. It's so good. I assume John Williams didn't compose the extra music that was in it. So whoever did, it's flawless. Like it is seamlessly weaving into what they did with the original movies. So
okay, so this actually makes sense. You may be more familiar with this guy, Gordy Haab, Haab. 2 other games he did the composition for: Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, the 2 most recent ones.
Oh, so he's like the John Williams like pinch hitter for
which
in video games. All right.
Makes sense because those games had excellent soundtracks too. So
sure did.
So when is it supposed to come to PS5? Is it like February or something like that?
I think it's supposed to be a 6-month delay, was what we heard.
Yeah,
so
all they
next summer.
All they said is spring. So spring
June.
2025. Yeah.
May, June.
So hopefully before too long. But yeah, point being, just to kind of narrow down my thoughts, I think the game is phenomenal so far. I'm certainly going to keep playing. I absolutely love it. It's everything. It was really the aside from Astrobot earlier this fall, it was really the only other major game I was looking forward to, and so far it's living up to everything I could have ever asked for. So
it's machine games, right?
It is.
And they don't do Doom, that's id. They do the Wolfenstein games, right? I have only played the New Order Wolfenstein, like the first PS4 one. I never played 2. It looked so fucking hard that I just like, I don't want to do this right now. I might grab that and play it on easy just because I'm like, I need to see what else these guys do. I played the shit out of the first game, the first Wolfenstein. I'm amazed that this is machine games because there's so much like restraint in what they're doing. Like things aren't crazy over the top. They're like subtle and clever. Not to say that like they were incapable of doing that. It just didn't seem like they were interested in doing that based off what I played from Wolfenstein. And like that's great. That's fine. I'm not knocking them. But I can't believe this is the same studio. Like if you told me this is Arcane, I'd believe that it's Arcane. But the fact that it's Machine Games doing this, I'm like, fuck. Video game developers are so talented. Like they can literally do anything, man. Like why are we putting them in a box? The only ones we should put in a box are Aspire, because like they're never gonna do Knights of the Republic. So like get in a box and start working on Knights of the Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, release that shit. But no, I'm blown away by this game. I think it's great.
Yeah,
it's
machine
20 hours supposedly.
Yeah, somewhere in that time frame, depending on how much you do. But again, there are side quests and collectibles you can find, and at least the area I'm in right now, the first city you go to is humongous. I mean, there's so much you can go and find. So I'm assuming you could get at least like 35 hours out of it if it stays like this the rest of the game, which is astounding for a Machine Games game. Because the 4 other games they've done, I guess they've done a few Wolfenstein games at this point. I mean, they've all been pretty linear. I think, trying to remember how long Wolfenstein 2 was, I can't imagine it was longer than like 10 or 15 hours. So, definitely their biggest game yet. But man, you've got to play Wolfenstein 2. I think I said this in the chat the other day. Wolfenstein 1 was good. I really enjoyed it. But then you played 2, and it's almost the same as like that Uncharted 1 to 2
The 2 jump. Yep.
jump. It by comparison, that first game feels really low budget, and then you jump to 2, and I freaking love that game, man. It is so good. It's one of the best shooters from that generation for sure.
Okay.
So,
I'm glad you brought up Uncharted right before we end, because like
yeah.
there is a while there where I was just like, man, this sucks. Like, there's more good Uncharted games than there are good Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah.
And I've come back down on that. I actually think Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is like a pretty good movie until the last like 10 minutes.
I would
And
agree with that.
I think like the Dial of Destiny is actually a really good movie until the last like 10 minutes. You know, it's just like these guys can't stick the landing. But like, I was kind of frustrated playing the Uncharted. I loved everything about Uncharted except for the combat. And man, do they just force you into combat so goddamn much. In this game, I am really looking forward to the combat just because it is so much fun, like getting into a fist fight again with like Mussolini, black boot fascists, and it's just like, yeah, I'll throw a wine bottle at your face and then, you know, jab you twice to the left and then just like uppercut you once with the right. Like, that feels good. I want to do that all day. But the second thing is like how you don't have to get into combat. How like you can't just throw a bottle to distract people, and it's just like that doesn't like it. It never feels like, okay, you've got to do this if you want your reward. You like the exploring part? Well, you got to eat your vegetables and do the combat. And that's what it felt like to me for Uncharted. And that hasn't crossed my mind once playing this game. So I'm really, really enjoying it.
No, they really don't force you into the combat. And the whip feels great, by the way, and in combat and otherwise, it's really well done. So, Coach, are you planning to play this game at some point?
Depends. When is Doom coming out?
I don't know if they've said. I
So-
bet it'll be like next fall.
Okay. So it just depends. It depends how the layout of 2020.
Yeah.
Right? So pretty much anything big, I'll play on my PS5 here. And then when I get home in summer, I do build a PC. But so I do want to play it because I love the movies. The first thing.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever play the Nintendo 64 Indiana Jones?
I tried to play the Xbox one, which I think was like more or less like an updated version. Like the Staff of Kings, I think, was the Xbox one, and then there was the N64 one, the Tomb one, right?
I never played it.
There's one YouTuber I got really into for a summer, and he's like a Super Mario Maker level clearer. That's like his thing. But then he decided to play every single Nintendo 64 game ever, and he has like an RNG device that like just picks a random game for him. He just goes like alphabetically, and I watched his playthrough of the Indiana Jones game, and I cannot believe that shit ran on N64. Like, that is so ambitious and insane. Good for them.
Well, Coach, I think whenever you do play it, you'll enjoy it. So, did you played Wolfenstein 2, right?
First one.
Oh, you played the first one, so you didn't play the second one. Man,
No, I didn't get all the way through.
gosh, gotta play the second one. It's so good. It's so good. Now, I've actually been wanting to replay it on PC because I played it on PS4 Pro at the time. So I may do that at some point. So before we move off this, Alden just left a comment and said, "Have you guys talked about how the melee combat is some of the best gaming has to offer in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle?" Yeah, I mean, we kind of hit on that, Alden, but yeah, it's excellent. The hand-to-hand combat is all good, and the stealth, as far as like sneaking up on people and taking them out in one hit, is really cool too. Because it seems like there are a bunch of different animations that you can get if you're taking someone out silently, depending on the weapon and what you're holding. So I'm a big fan of all that too. But
it feels great, man. Like, it just feels like it makes me want to punch someone in the face.
Yeah.
I'm just like, God, it feels this good. And like, it has like this kind of Foley, like, you're right, like the clap sound that just sounds like you're punching someone in the 70s.
Yeah.
No, it's incredible. Feels so good. And like, their dumb little hats fall off when you punch them. It's beautiful.
It's excellent. So with that, I think we've kind of set our piece on Indiana Jones for now. I'm sure George and I will continue talking about it in the weeks ahead, as I will keep playing it, of course, and I know he will as well. And I actually tried to stream it the other day on our YouTube channel just to kind of test the new PC and see what it could do from a stream standpoint. So I streamed like an hour and a half on the Frameskip YouTube channel. I may do that again soon as well. So watch for that. But before we wrap up the show, we have one more big topic we wanted to talk about here, and that is the rumors going around that Valve may be making a new Steam console. Now, I'm not. I should have read into this a little more, but I believe the big hits essentially are there's a leak that came out that a Steam Controller 2 and a new VR headset are both in the works, and then alongside that, they are essentially making a full dedicated console, not like a Steam Deck that's handheld, but literally like a box that you plug into your TV for playing Steam games. So that's, from my understanding, kind of the extent of it. There's not really too much information as far as what specs it would have or what it would do. Just the fact that they're working on it and that it may be on the way. So, and then this other thing I'll just quickly note is that this comes. I find this interesting. This is from Insider Gaming, who reports on a lot of these leaks and rumors. They're also noting the fact that we're approaching the 10-year anniversary of when the Steam controller was first released, along with the first release of the Steam machines, which were kind of a failed experiment. So, do you guys remember those things?
I've been listening to old podcasts, man, and I'm there in like old game scoops, and listening to Beyond, and Greg and Colin were freaking out. Not really, but they're like, "What could this mean for PlayStation?" And Colin's
Nothing.
like, "It'll make competition better." And Greg's like, "I don't know. What if I left PlayStation?" And then like nothing happened. Like they had it was too complicated. They had like a low end, a medium, a high end tier, and then it was just like, why the fuck wouldn't I just build a PC?
And it was like all these different manufacturers too, right? Like it was so complicated.
Yeah.
It was just PCs.
Yeah.
It was what it was. So, but yeah, so I do like that note that Insider Gaming added here. But
from what I remember, before even Steam or Valve made theirs, everybody did theirs, right? So there was a CES Computer Expo, right? And I forgot the name of the company, but I think it was called like Scion or something. It was a cube. And you could actually, it was modular, so you could pull parts out, RAM, stuff like that, right? But it was super expensive. And the company was from like Utah or something like that. And they went under, and there was just a lot of bad things with that company. But they were the first ones that actually put something that people could see, because back then, if you wanted to play your computer games on the big TV, you would have to take your computer and set it up with your TV, right? So it was kind of a pain in the butt, But they all failed. All of these Steam machines failed. So it's kind of confusing that his Steam Deck I guess it's kind of successful, right? I haven't looked at numbers.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's doing good, right? And it has you could hook it up to the TV, right?
Yeah, it's got a dock pretty similar to the Switch.
Right. So I don't know why. I'm kind of confused why, if this is true, why Valve would want to go down this rabbit hole again when the first time it didn't work. And I think people, they want the hybrid. They want the handheld that you could quickly just set next to your TV, put it in and then play.
Yeah. It is interesting, and we'll certainly see what happens if any of this is even true. I mean, that's obviously the big caveat is who knows if any of this is actually real. But I could be wrong. I don't own a Steam Deck, although now that I have this PC, I'd love to get one at some point soon. Although I'm kind of waiting for the second one at this point since it's been out for a while, and already some modern games are struggling to run on the Steam Deck. But anyway, point being, I think the reason it's so successful is because of what it is. The fact that you can take your Steam games and play them literally on the go. I don't know. I think a Steam console would be more successful than the Steam machines because just by nature it is so much more simple. I mean, just the marketing of like a single console versus 15 of these random things made by different manufacturers and nobody really fully understands what they are. It's an easier sell in a way, but at the same time, again, like I think the Steam Deck works because it's handheld, but a Steam machine or a Steam console, by all means, is just a computer. So I don't know how this would do mass market. I don't necessarily know that people would snap on this. I mean, I certainly think the hard sell, of course, or the sell they would make would be that it's significantly more powerful than a Steam Deck. I mean, that's what they would have to frame it as. But why not just get a PC?
I don't know. I have my Steam Deck. I like my Steam Deck. I complained about my Steam Deck a little bit just because something felt off when I was playing first-person shooters last week. And man, there's so many games that still like aren't Steam Deck optimized. So like until like that shit gets figured out, I don't think this is really going to matter that much. I also don't understand why you can't just dock this and play off this. Like I understand it's not going to be the most beautiful version of Oblivion or whatever you could play, but like if people really want to do it, they would probably buy the Steam Deck. Like that's one. I don't understand how Oblivion isn't playable on Steam Deck. I don't understand how Morrowind isn't playable on Steam Deck. I don't understand like none of those classic games, like the reason to buy a PC 20 years ago, are available.
Yeah.
Easily to play. And it's like at this point, like it really does feel like it's a Steam first party game machine plus a whole bunch of indies that you can literally like you don't need a high end console to play. Like you don't need to like a new graphics card for fucking Balatro, you know? You don't need a new graphics card for Terraria or Stardew Valley, right? Like I don't know. I think it's exciting just to have like a new player enter and like maybe PlayStation and Microsoft will give a shit. Maybe like they'll try something different because like frankly I'm kind of sick of the direction Sony's going in. I don't know what direction Microsoft's going in. That kind of bums me out. And Nintendo, honestly, you're doing great, kid. Don't let anyone talk to you any differently. You're killing it. But from the big two, the people who say that like power is what matters, graphics are what matters, I think they're getting a little too big for their britches. So I wouldn't mind like some more competition there. But that said, like, what's the reason to own a PC these days? Like genuinely, besides graphics and I guess 140 frames per second.
Yeah.
15 years ago, like, oh shit, can it run Crysis? Like, no, consoles can't run Crysis, and all of a sudden they fucking could, you know. So it's like, seriously, like, what's the point if there's so much ubiquity?
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. And just quickly, Bullfrog said it probably appeal to people who don't want to build a small form PC, which is true.
1000%, yeah.
I mean, I don't disagree with that statement, and it would probably also appeal to people that, I mean, presumably this would be cheaper than a gaming computer. I mean, they would probably do something similar to Sony and Microsoft, where like if you bought a PC equivalent to a PS5, it wouldn't cost $450 or whatever. I mean, it would probably cost more like $1,000. So there would be some financial incentive for people, but at the same time, I think overall the market that this would sell to is still significantly smaller than the market of the Steam Deck, in my opinion. So
yes, it's also it's not a PC. Like the cool thing about a gaming PC is you can play the latest games at high settings, right? And then you can do your fucking taxes, and then you can edit a video, and then you can send an email, and then you can watch porn. Like you can do everything you could possibly want on a PC. But like you would never do that shit on your PlayStation. So like if they're going after the PlayStation audience, like this thing doesn't even have a disk drive, presumably, right? Like why would it if it's all PC games? It's like, all right, well then it's not a 4K Blu-ray player. You know, it's like, is it a 4K streamer? I hope so, because like ideally you could play 4K games. But I don't know. I know that my PlayStation is a 4K Blu-ray player just because it had 4K streamer and all that shit. But like I don't know. It just seems like it's really limiting. What's oh, sorry. It's because I'm pointing to my PlayStation Google Meet does this a lot lately, where like you can actually like make hand gestures. Like if you make a heart, like an actual heart will appear in your video conference. There you go. See, it's really fucking annoying
Mine
when you're
doesn't
trying.
work.
It's really annoying when you're trying to like give a presentation. You're trying to do something seriously. And you like point over
And
here.
you're like,
to
I
make
love
a
you
joke.
guys. Great
Yeah,
presentation.
when you're being professional, and then like you do this, and then all of a sudden everyone knows. No, that one never happens. But like, if you do that, or if you do this, and whatever. The point is, you're right, Bullfrog, that it is like a small form compact PC, but it's not a PC, and like it's one of those things where like, oh well, I'll just hook my mouse and keyboard up to it. Man, you're never gonna edit a video on your couch while the screen is where your TV is. Like you're just not. So then you have to move it, and then all of a sudden it's not your TV game box anymore. So like I don't know, man. Like they should really just build a dock, like a better dock. Is there any way to
Yeah.
like we just like make that? The one thing they did figure out with the Steam Deck for sure is the UI. Like I think that UI is extremely professional, is extremely console friendly. It's like they crushed that. But like, man, I wish we could just like dock it in like 32x style, just like get more power into it when it's docked, you know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a
Either
PC guy.
way, I mean, we'll see what happens. Who knows again if it's even real, but frankly, I would not buy one if it's presented the way we are all talking about right now. I mean, again, kind of what you said, George. It's like, well, I already have a PC. Even if I didn't have a PC, I don't know. It's a weird concept to think about. So, but I'm sure there's a market for it. It's just how big is that market for it? Is it something that could be successful? So, but hey, I mean, Valve clearly, in a way, at least this past few years, knows what they're doing. I mean, they did a really good job with the Steam Deck. Like you said, the UI is great, the design is great. So maybe they could surprise people. But and it could just be seen. Maybe their whole goal is for it to be kind of an entry point to PC gaming, which is a noble cause. I mean, maybe that's the point, is to sell it to like the general public and not necessarily the people like us. So I don't know. But I suppose we'll see. Coach, anything you want to add?
No, I just it'll be interesting to watch in the summer, because I'm sure if he's going to do something with this, he'll announce it this summer, right?
Yeah.
So I just don't. I don't know. I don't see the market for this.
Yeah. I do wonder like how this all ties in with the Steam Deck too, because you have to wonder, like, does this all come out in the same time frame? Do they split things up? I mean, I don't know how long they're expecting the Steam Deck life cycle to last, but like I said, I know some modern games are already starting to struggle a little bit. I know Monster Hunter Wilds basically does not run on the Steam Deck, and admittedly, that's like a really high demand game. I'd be curious to see what Indiana Jones is like, because I know the PC specs are pretty high. I'm curious if it's playable on Steam Deck. I don't know, but with that,
Are we
go ahead.
really quick? Do you think we're going to be more willing to accept technical limitations on a handheld? Like, Coach is shaking his head. I know you're bummed about like the performance of Echoes of Wisdom, right? Like the latest Zelda game on
Yeah.
Switch. And like I was pretty bummed about the way Scarlet and Violet were performing, but I was pretty forgiving in a way that like, oh man, if this were on PlayStation, this would be inconceivable. Like this would be, I can't even think of the word. Like this would be like unfathomable. That's
Yeah.
the word I was thinking of. Where it's just like unforgivable that like you're releasing this state. But like the fact that like Nintendo's like, well, it's a 7-year-old piece of handheld tech. Yeah, okay, I get why this incredibly ambitious Zelda game isn't running the most optimized. In theory, it should be, because it's 7 years old. Like you should know how to squeeze more juice from that lemon. But maybe they just squeezed everything. So, like, do you think people would be more free? Like, I'm ready to retire my Steam Deck already and just make it like, yep, this is my boomer shooter. I want to follow in Coach's footsteps. Just play old pew pew games from 20 years ago. Because frankly, that was what I bought it for. You know, this wasn't supposed to be like my high-end PC experience. This was supposed to be like, fuck, I'm finally gonna play Half-Life 2. Like,
So I have a theory. Going back to Echoes of Wisdom, I wonder if they actually developed for the Switch 2, and that's why they didn't cap the frame rate. So that way, I mean, we don't know if cartridges are going to be backwards compatible. We know that digital is. Right? Go ahead.
Didn't someone release like a like preview images of like?
Yeah.
Awesome. You shared this, right? Like
I shared this.
Like the handheld
Satisfy.
thing. Yeah, for Switch 2, and it has like the built-in Switch like cartridge holder, and it was like original Nintendo Switch. That could
Yeah.
just be placeholder imagery, because like a lot of those mock-ups are actually done like with Photoshop. They're not all just like an actual photo shoot that they do. A lot of them are composites, so like it could be, but also it's like, well, this makes it, I'd say 10% more likely it is going to be the same kind of cartridges.
Yeah. I think I could be wrong, Coach, but I bet the cartridges are BC. But Bullfrog brought up a good point. Link's Awakening also didn't perform particularly well. So I don't think your theory's bad, though, because
maybe it's Grezzo. Yeah.
It could be Grezzo. But you got to think, too, I was just thinking about this. This game comes out this fall, came out this fall, November or October 2024 or whatever it was. We had heard so many rumors like over the past year and a half that Nintendo kept pushing the Switch 2 further and further back. I don't know if you guys really remember that, but there were all those leaks saying it was going to come out this fall and that they pushed it and pushed it and pushed it due to
it was delayed.
Yeah. But it
was
could
never
legitimately
announced.
be like a production issue or production pipeline issue. I don't know. So maybe the intention was Switch 2 is going to come out this fall with this game alongside it.
Well, that, I mean, also we thought we were gonna get Wind Waker before we thought we'd get like a new Zelda game starring Zelda, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I don't think
especially with Thousand Year Door and all that shit coming
break out your Wii U, boys and girls, if you want to play Wind Waker HD, which is fine. But just going back to my point is, I'm wondering. My theory is the reason why that when you're in the overworld, right? Before, not in the non-dungeons, whatever, but that frame is going, from 30 to 60 is
rough.
because they tested it on Switch 2 and it was 6 frames.
I hope so.
So it'll be interesting to see what games you could actually just put in and it will play better. I don't think there's going to be that many. I think they're going to have to go in and do some scripting or whatever to get it working, but I don't know. We'll see. What I want to know is Xenoblade. How's that going to play? Will Monolith, fix that up so that way it's smooth?
I'm not a technical person when it comes to all this shit. Is there a reason why they wouldn't lock it at 30 on Switch for a smooth running experience, and then just patch it on Switch 2 to go up to 60?
Not really. Just lazy development.
Probably.
Most people would agree that like a solid 30 is better than a game that switches between 30 and 60 constantly. So unless the devs just straight up didn't care, it would be weird to omit that on purpose. So I have a feeling. Yeah, it is. I have a feeling they just didn't care though. They just were like, yeah, this is fine. Most people will be okay with it. But I like your Switch 2 theory though. I hope that's true.
Yeah.
So, and if that is true, I'll finally play it because I tried to play it on Switch and I just can't. I can't. It's so bad.
It's a puzzle game. Let's put it right what it is. It's a puzzle game. So if you're into puzzle games, have fun.
Well, and I feel bad because I know the game's great. Everybody talks about how good it is, but I just cannot handle a game that literally goes constantly between 30 and 60 frames per second. It is so jarring. Just keep it at 30. Like I really don't need the 60 frame mode in the few instances it is 60.
Well,
yeah.
Not really.
So it's not good. But
I'm buying Switch 2 sight unseen. Like if it's cartridge backwards compatible, because like there were so many PS4 games that I didn't get a chance to play on PS4 because they ran like shit on PS4. And I was like, all right, well, like I'll just play the ones that play good. And then I just treated I never had a PS4 Pro. Like these games that were basically built for like Jedi Fallen Order kind of built for Pro, right? Like Control kind of built for Pro. Outer Worlds actually ran pretty well on base PS4, so I'm gonna give that one a pass. But No, man, like I didn't buy the Pro. I bought the PS5, which was just a better PlayStation 4
Yeah.
for a bunch of these
How
games.
did Survivor play on PS5 before they remastered it?
I thought it was
Fallen Order?
oh the
Fallen Order, yes.
Fallen Order. Before they remastered it, I thought deaths were really fast on PS4. I never played. I only played the remastered version, I think. Did they remaster it before or after Survivor?
Oh, it was definitely before.
Definitely before.
It was definitely
Survivor.
before.
Okay.
It was
then I think
Well,
I
they
only
had
played
the HD patch, right?
Yeah.
I think I only played that then on PS5.
Yeah. I was the same. I never played the original, and I never played it before they patched it either. So I don't really know.
Wait, you said you never played Fallen Order?
No, I'm saying like I never played it on PS4.
Oh, okay.
And I only played it on PS5 once it got patched, so I don't really know.
It took forever to load into the game. Your PlayStation 4 sounded like it was going to explode if you kept running it. However, like the same thing, like when you died, you came back like instantly. Like once you were in the game, there was hardly any load times, but loading into the game was what took a minute. It was really impressive.
First time I beat it was on the 1X.
Nice.
Yep.
Alden said in our chat, which by the way, if you're listening on Spotify or wherever, don't forget we do stream our show. He says, I just want you to know that I have my other earbud next to my mom's poodle's ear, so you have your first cross-species show right now.
There we go.
Oh, big day.
That's awesome.
That's going to be sad he's not here. Yeah.
Alden's mom's poodle is currently listening to the three of us.
Poor dog.
So, yeah. Oh, I hope he's still alive after this, Alden.
Yeah, seriously. I hope this isn't the first line in your dog's suicide note. Sorry, your mom's dog's suicide note.
Well, guys, with that, I think we'll wrap it up there. Anything else anybody wants to add on?
Nope. I want to end right there.
Yeah, let's end it right there.
I hope Alden's mom's dog doesn't write a suicide note, and I hope we're not in it if they do.
That would be great. All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Love you, Coach. Love you, Austin.
We'll see you next time. Adios.
Adios.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Frameskip. Don't forget you can find the show on social media at FrameskippPod. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also follow us each individually on Twitter. George is at Shortbox Summary, Seth is at Seth the 90s Kid, and I, Austin Eller, am at Austin J. Eller on Twitter. If you've got a question, comment, or topic you'd like to hear discussed on the next episode of Frameskip, you can do so by submitting it to us on social media. Email us at frameskippodcast@gmail.com or visit bit.ly/frameskipq. That's bit.ly/frameskipq. The show is typically live on YouTube every week, either on Tuesday or Wednesday. You can find our YouTube channel at bit.ly/frameskiplive. Don't forget to subscribe and be notified when we do go live, typically at about 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.